Land in the chat. Are y'all going to talk about LSU or not? Yes, we are going to talk about LSU because Brian Kelly and Garrett Nussmeier and company, Whit Weeks, they were at SEC Media Days yesterday. And Brian Kelly seems like he's in a good place. I think he's very excited about this team. I think he's very happy with this roster. I think he understands they have a major challenge in front of them, game one. And I was fascinated to hear him talk about that game against Clemson.
A great deal of respect for Clemson. I think that is a given because of my background playing Clemson, as an ACC team. So I have great respect for Dabo and what he's built and the championships. But at the end of the day, our feeling is this is a goal of ours. This is one of our tangible goals that we have put out in front, that we want to start the season 1-0. It's important to us. And so our off-season training has been about that. It's about going 1-0 and playing a great program. And we're excited about the challenge. It's going to be difficult. But look, I don't think you set realistic goals unless they're difficult. This will be a difficult challenge for us, but one that we're excited about and one that we're focused on with great intent.
This is perfect because it's your first game, so you can always say that. Yeah, he's no. Listen, we might get the fist on the table if they lose to Clemson, but you can say all that stuff when it's your first game because you're not violating the rules of coach speak. It is the next game in front of you, but it's such a psychologically heavier thing at LSU because they've lost the last 5. And the losing streak predates Brian Kelly. It's not his fault they've lost the last 5. He was the coach for the last 3, so those are his fault.
But this would be the most understandable season opening loss that they've had during the stretch. That's
100%
about it. All the games that they lost, unless I'm forgetting one, Andy. Did they play a team that was a legitimate top 5 team at any point during that 5-game losing streak?
Florida State, the year that Florida State went 13-0.
Okay, that's right. And that was a good game, right? That was a really good game.
LSU was in it for a half, and then Florida State sort of turned on the afterburners in the second half.
In the second half. But no, LSU was winning in the first half, if I recall.
Yeah. Jared Verse really wrecked LSU that day.
This is the quintessential whoever loses freak out game for sure. I think.
Agreed.
Also, I think that while whoever wins this game is going to have a nice playoff feather in their cap, I think both teams are going to be in the national conversation for the playoff in November, regardless of what happens. So, the Brian Kelly thing is also interesting in the same way that the Lane Kiffin thing is, in that, he has been one of the most consistently winning coaches in college football for, 15 years. But I don't think people view him from a fan perspective, if you did a poll, as one of the 10 best coaches in college football. And I don't know.
I think Marcus Freeman has had something to do with that too, because it's all interconnected. Brian Kelly leaves Notre Dame, and his stated goal for leaving Notre Dame is I can go to LSU and actually win national titles. And we looked at that and we said, okay, you've been doing great at Notre Dame. You did better than anybody at Notre Dame since Lou Holtz. When you got at that level with Notre Dame, you guys didn't have the rosters to compete. Well, we saw Marcus Freeman get to that level, and he did have a roster capable of competing. Notre Dame beating Georgia in the Sugar Bowl told you all you need to know. And those Notre Dame fans are I don't know if we could have done that in the Brian Kelly era. So now Brian Kelly at LSU,
because the easiest
with
thing
the access to talent, has to do that.
It's the easiest thing to say that I don't know if we could have done under Brian Kelly, but the context of that too is deeper than he said they couldn't do it and then they did it. The sport also evolved.
The sport changed too. So, but there's still no excuse to not do it at LSU.
Right. That's the thing. It's I think that Brian Kelly did a phenomenal job at Notre Dame. And I don't think that Notre Dame's recent success takes away from what he did there. I think in the era in which he coached there, they did quite well. In fact, they made the playoff 2 times. What do you? I know that they didn't beat peak Bama. Oh God!
I'm telling you right now, if you're an LSU fan and he hasn't taken you to the playoff yet, but Marcus Freeman took Notre Dame to the national title game, that bugs you.
No, and it should, but it bugs you because LSU is LSU. It doesn't diminish what he did at Notre Dame. That's my only point. Like, I think that like diminishing the past because of recent.
Oh, I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm not criticizing anything he did at Notre Dame. I am saying if you're an LSU fan, you're looking at that and going, wait. You came here to do that. We have a better setup to do that than anybody. We've won 3 national titles this century.
Buddy, if he would have won 3 national titles at Notre Dame, this is unacceptable. You know, like this
because it's LSU.
Yeah, this is LSU.
You're supposed to win national titles at LSU. The last 3 coaches at LSU have won national titles.
And I was the one starting the bus up on the hot seat talk a year ago until you told me that his buyout was too expensive.
It's true. His buyout is enormous. It doesn't really matter what he does this year. But I will tell you, if he goes 8-4 this year, the LSU fans are going to go crazy. So they need more than that. But I think he's feeling good about this team. He's feeling good about this roster. I think it starts with the quarterback. They get Garrett Nussmeier back. Here's BK on Garrett Nussmeier, and I think you'll see one reason why he's so comfortable with this roster.
He represents LSU. He represents the state of Louisiana. I mean, he is our guy. I mean, he's waited for this opportunity. He loves LSU. And so you want to follow a guy like that because he's got all the things that you're looking for in a player. Committed, passionate, focused. He's got leadership ability. And he can whip the ball around the yard when you need to. Now, the thing that he brings to the table, as I've said in many of these settings, experience is the best teacher. And he's got experience. And he's got some adversity that he had to overcome along the way. I will take that kind of quarterback anytime in the SEC. Because when you go on the road, when you start with Death Valley, you bring a freshman into Death Valley, you better be ready for the backup to get in there too. That's my point, is that experience and a guy that has the traits that represent LSU is our starting quarterback. How cool is that?
Yeah, he's pretty excited.
Yeah.
Absolutely excited. And I don't blame him because, well, first of all, the last 2 quarterbacks who've gone from year 1 to year 2 as the starter at LSU won the Heisman in year 2. Now, it's kind of up to BK about what talent did he put around Garrett Nussmeier because, you know, with Jaden Daniels, he also had 2 first-round receivers that year. But I feel like this is the best roster Kelly's had since that first year at LSU. I think he inherited a pretty nice roster from Ed Orgeron. I know everybody's like, the numbers were down. The players were very good. And then they went and got Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
This is a roster that can compete.
For sure. And I look at this schedule, and I think it's actually quite favorable in comparison to some of the other ones.
Yeah, the one, okay. So we agree on the Clemson game. Everybody's going to freak out about the result. Fact of the matter is the team that loses that game is not out of anything. But that LSU-Florida game is going to be massive for both teams.
But you would rather
be both teams.
You would rather be 3-1 heading into Ole Miss with a loss to Clemson than 3-1 heading into Ole Miss with a loss to Florida.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because Ole Miss and South Carolina back-to-back is no easy feat. So you got to go to Ole Miss. South Carolina comes to you. Like, yeah, you want to have 1-0 in the SEC next to your name when you go to Oxford.
Yeah,
because if you go 0-2, you drop to 0-2 in the SEC at that point, which is possible given what we've seen with Ole Miss. You got a problem. You have a massive, massive problem. Then South Carolina, Texas A&M, Alabama, like all become must wins.
Yeah, I think a lot in the SEC is. We've talked about this, but I think the SEC is going to be a lot of things are going to be determined in this conference by how good South Carolina and A&M actually are, because they land on a lot 100%. Of schedules in very critical places. And you've made this point about A&M, but I think the point also stands with South Carolina. We've been talking all year about how it's a big game on everyone's schedule. If it turns out that it's not, I don't know why it would, but if it turns out that they're just like normal South Carolina or 6-6 South Carolina, then that changes the dynamic for a lot of different coaches. Andy, do you think the Florida game is going to be at night?
It is at night. It's already scheduled, so it's at night.
I'm just like selfishly trying to finagle my way to Tigers, to Baton Rouge, to Death Valley.
I mean, you can get there. It's easy.
I know
You could drive there.
I want to drive there. Yeah. I've never been to a game, and I would want it my first one to be at night. So
If they beat Clemson, even if they don't beat Clemson, but if they do beat Clemson, that game is going to be off the hook.